Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to iCode. In this video, we're gonna see what are variables in C Sharp. So let's get started. So open up Unity. So tap on Unity icon. So to open up Unity and now create a new project. So tap on New. Okay, tap on New. And now let me just name this as variables. So the project name is variables. Seems like I have got a Facebook notification, so let me just tap on close. And now so variables, and let me just select this particular 2D option and tap on create project. So now the project is being created and now we are inside Unity. As I told you, the first thing you need to do when you open up Unity is to save your scene. So I'm going to just press command plus S, that is command S, and I'm going to just name this as first scene. So first, and tap on save. So tap on save, and now this will be in your particular assets folder. So just navigate to your project tab, and here you can see that our scene is saved. So everything is cool. And the other thing that I told you in the last video is that you need to create an empty game object so that that particular game object will be inside your scene, and when you just tap on this run button, your script will run as your game object is inside this particular game scene. So for that, you need to just create an empty game object. So right here in the hierarchy panel, right click here and create an empty game object. So create empty, and let me just leave that as game object. And guys, when you create a game object, that is right here, when you create a game object in the hierarchy panel, that means that particular game object is now inside our scene. Okay, so when you create a game object right here, that means that particular game object is inside our screen. Got it? Fine. And now after this, what you need to do is you need to just create a script so that we can write some C# code. So just right click here, go to create and tap on C# script, and let us just name this as variables. So variables or variable script, something like that. So variable script, and type enter. Sorry, not type, press enter. Why am I saying that? So press enter. And now we need to attach this particular script to the game object so that when we run this when we run this game, this particular script will run. So just drag this up and put it on this particular game object. So to just attach this particular script to this game object. So just leave that up there. And if you tap on the game object now, you can see that this particular variable script is now attached to that particular game object. That means when you run this game, this particular script will run as well. Cool. Now open that up. And now just double tap on that so that you could open that variable script inside Mono Develop, and there we go. And guys, let me just get rid of this update function. For the purpose of C# learning, we don't need this update function. So let me just get rid of this update function, and let me just get rid of this comment as well. All we need is only the start function. So you may ask, what is a start function? Well, let me just come back to the Unity. So where is Unity? Here we go. So when you tap on this run button right here, that is when you run the game, the Unity will run all the scripts for the game objects inside this particular scene. That means it will run the script for this particular game object as well. And Unity knows that variable script is the script that is attached to the game object. So it will just run this particular script, that is variable script.cs, and now inside this script, Unity will search for functions called start, update, on trigger, enter 2D, etc. And now don't bother about all the other functions. We're going to bother about this start function only. So what is a start function? So basically when you run the game, the code inside the start function is executed first. So let me just say that again. So when you run the game, all the code inside this particular start function will run. Got it? Fine. So from now, we just need to put all our code inside this start function so that when we run the game, our code will run as well. If you have any doubt, just put that in the comment section, guys. I'll help you out. So right now, just put all the code inside this start function and we are done. Blah, blah, blah. I've talked a lot. Let us now code and see what are variables. So let me just give some space to me so that I could explain to you. So what are variables? Variables are something which store value. Okay, so variables are something which store value. If you kind of have experience with C++, Java, or any other programming language, you know what a variable means. So a variable is something which stores value. And in C# we have many types of variables, but the 4 variables that we are gonna work with right now is an integer variable. So let me just write that down. So integer, what is that? So integer variable. Okay, let me just put comments here. So in C sharp, you just put comments using this particular double slash. So double slash, and you can write anything, and that will not be executed when you just run your script. And that is the use of comments. So in C sharp, we have basically many variables, and right now we're going to learn only 4 types, because that 4 types are pretty important and we need to learn that. We must learn that. So the first type is integer, and the next one is float, and third one is boolean, and the fourth one is string. So in this video, we're going to see what are these 4 kinds of variables, that is what are these 4 types of variables, and we're going to learn that one by one. So coming to the integer variable. So basically integers are something, they're numbers. It may be negative, positive, even 0. So an integer variable will basically store any number, that is it may be negative number, positive number, or even 0, and it should not contain any decimals. Got it? Okay, let me just show you. So let me just create an integer variable. So in C sharp, you can create an integer variable by just saying int, so that means integer, and now you just give a name to your integer variable. So let me just give a name something like integer variable. Integer variable is equal to, and now you need to give a value. So I'm going to just give this a value 5 or 4 maybe. So 4. Oh my god, 4. So now we have given this particular integer variable, that is integer variable, a value of 4. So this particular equal to is assignment operator. That means whatever you put on the right side of this particular equal to, it will just assign that value to this particular variable on the left side. Correct? So that means now this particular variable, that is integer variable, has a value of 4. So integers are basically something which doesn't have decimals. Got it? Fine. Now let me just print this out, so to check if this particular integer variable has a value 4 or not. So as I told you in the previous video, to print something to console, you just need to say debug.log. So now let me just type in debug.log. So debug.log, where is log? Seems like it's giving some kind of error, and that's because, as I told you in the previous video, in C sharp, after every statement you need to put a semicolon. So just put a semicolon over there, and now we'll just get rid of that error. So now debug.log, log, and there you go. And now open the parenthesis and put a semicolon here as well, and inside this you need to just name the variable for which you want to know the value of. So debug.log integer variable. So integer variable, and there you go. Just save this up, minimize this, and run your game. So run this up and go to console tab. So navigate to console tab, and here you can see that our integer variable has a value of 4, and this is how you create a variable and put some value into it. Got it? Fine. This is about integer variable. So let me just tap on this play button so to just stop the game. So go to mono develop right here. So this is how you create an integer variable. You just say int, that means we're gonna create an integer variable, and give a name for it, put an equal to, and give it a value. Got it? Fine. Now we're gonna just discuss about the floating variables. So let me just get rid of this debug.log. Okay, let me just put it there. We'll be using that again. So let me just come back here, and now what is a floating point number? So a floating point is one which has decimals. So basically something like 2.343 or anything is a floating point number. It can be even minus 3.45, doesn't matter. It may be minus 0.12 or 0.123. All these are floating point numbers. So basically a floating point number is one which has decimals. Got it? Fine. So let me just get rid of all this, and now let me just show you how to create a floating point number in C sharp. So it's basically something like how we create this particular integer variables. All we need to do is you need to just say what is the type of the variable that we're going to create. So we're going to say the float, and now we're going to give a name. So we're going to say floating, or we can just say float variable is equal to, and now let's give a value for that. something like 4.5 and put a semicolon right here. And guys, in C sharp, when you create a floating variable, you just need to put an F just after the value. Okay, so put an F, and I'll tell you why, when time comes. So just don't bother about it right now. You just need to put a F. Okay, fine. So now that we have just created a floating variable, just put that inside this debug.log so that we can see if that value is stored inside that particular float variable or not. So just say float variable and save this and go to Unity and run that up. Oh my god, where is Unity? Unity, right here. So run that, and inside the console you can see that now that particular variable has a value of 4.5. so this is how you create a floating point variable, and I think you got it. So let us go back to the mono develop, and now we're going to discuss about the third type of the variable, that is Boolean variable. Okay, it's not Boolean variable, it's Boolean variable. Okay, so what is a Boolean variable? So Boolean is something, it can have only two values, either true or false. And now let me just show you how to create a Boolean variable in C sharp. So we're going to just say bool. So bool and give it a name. We're going to say bool variable is equal to, now let's give it a value. And as I told you, it can have only two types of values, that is true or false. So let me just say true and give a semicolon and just change the name here. Bool, sorry, not F, bool variable. Save this, navigate to Unity and run the game. That means basically run the script. So run that, and now here you can see that that particular variable now contains true. So this is what a Boolean variable means, and this is how you create a Boolean variable in C sharp. So now tap on this play button, minimize this, go to mono develop, and now we're going to discuss about the last type of the variable, that is of type string. So what is a string? A string is collection of characters. It may be numbers, it may be special characters like @ exclamatory mark, hash, $sign, etc. It may be comma, it may be alphabets like A, B, C, D, etc. So basically a set of characters, a collection of characters is a string. And now let me just show you how to create a string in C sharp. So we're going to just say string. So string, and now we're going to give it a name. So string variable is equal to, and now let us just give it a value of icode. So save that up. Okay, we forgot a semicolon right here. Why am I forgetting that? Just put a semicolon right here, save that up, and let me just change the name here. So string variable, where is that? Okay, string variable, save that up, go to Unity and run the game. And in the console you can see that that particular string variable contains the value of icode now. This is how you create a string variable. So guys, basically these are the main 4 types of variables that you need to know for now. Later when we just create a game, I'll tell you what are the other types of variables that we have. And in the next video, I'm going to show you what are the operations that you can do with these variables. So stay tuned for that. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching this video. I think you liked the video, so give a thumbs up if you like that, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll be back with the next video very soon. So till then, see ya.